chain. Before you say another word to me. Before you chain me up like a slave again.
Listen to me.
There's something I must do. This will believe me.
I'm a suffering child.
Welcome to Les Miserables, the podcast with Samantha.
This is Javert. The people sing, lost in the valley of the night. Sorry.
Very Christmassy. This is all going great so far.
That's right.
I like how you both put in your earbuds, even though
we don't need to.
We're not listening
Oh,
to
yeah.
anything now, so that's very good.
I like how you watched me struggle with putting it on.
I watched you both just like, oh, we're getting ready to go.
That's what you do, right?
Singing your songs.
Do you want to hear any other Les Mis
Yeah,
songs?
absolutely.
What else
What's
could
the
we
one that
sing?
Anne Hathaway sings?
Nothing's gonna hurt you.
I dreamed a dream of time gone by. When life was my life worth living. I dreamed that love would never die.
Look at the peaking. Holy moly.
We're always peaking. You know that.
Still peaking.
We are in Christmas time.
Yay!
And we're talking about the Santa Claus.
Woo!
From 1990.
Where'd you go, bitch?
Sweet silver bells, Merry Christmas, everyone!
And this was a childhood favorite of ours, for sure. April, you were saying it's one of...
3 Christmas movies that
Yeah.
I very deeply remember.
That is a big deal.
Yeah. That you remember
I also
anything.
mentioned that I was scared to watch this movie again because it had been a few years.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was afraid that it was actually not good.
Yeah. So, multiple reasons to be concerned about going back to this movie. Because we've talked about when we watched Con Air, my first time watching Con Air, I was put in the mind of Air Force One, which I liked watching as a kid.
Right.
I have not watched in
for a long time.
15 years probably.
I watched
something
it a
like
week ago. Still really good.
Okay.
So
That's good.
I didn't watch it that long ago. It's been more than a week. But I still really enjoyed it.
okay.
I
good.
would vote for Harrison Ford as my president.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cool. So I'm looking forward to eventually watching that, but I'm also nervous. Is it going to hold up to what I have in my head?
I mean, you're gonna laugh at the end.
I mean, I know what happens at the
It's
end.
just the insane amount of crises.
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for me. I don't know if I've ever watched this movie.
It's
Get
pretty
off
tame.
my plane.
It's pretty tame.
So yeah, we know about that. This movie also has I watched it as a kid and really liked it as a kid. It's a classic Christmas movie. But also, we've had several more Santa Clauses that have happened. A new Santa Claus series.
Yeah.
A show.
Yeah.
That's happening now.
Yeah.
And also Tim Allen, the star of the series, is questionable.
Yeah.
Don't know what his deal is right now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be concerned about with going back and watching this. So going back to it, let's just get into it, shall we?
Do it.
94. I was 6 years old.
By
when
the
this
way,
movie came out.
Samantha's here.
I mean,
along with the usual.
Yes.
Kenny
The
and
dulcet
April.
tones at the top of the pod were me and April, yes.
Yes.
So hi. I also
Sorry.
love Christmas.
I wanted to introduce.
Thanks.
Yeah, we had to have Samantha on because she is the expert on Christmas.
I love Christmas.
Obviously.
more than anything.
Yes.
More than anything.
I think that's true.
That's sad.
No.
Yeah.
You love Christmas.
I love Christmas.
I also love Christmas.
Yeah. We all do.
Huge Christmas fan.
Yeah. I think
Must be
it's
Santa.
important.
It
It
must
must
be
be
Santa.
Santa. Must be Santa.
We're singing, everyone.
I think it's important to have the Christmas spirit, no matter your age.
What a great theme for this episode.
Wow,
because that's
yeah,
what
that's
Santa Claus is
perfect.
all about.
Yes. That's my tagline. Called it. All right. Christmas spirit is cool at any age. Okay?
I think I'm going to just make a guess. That's a better tagline than the actual tagline.
I don't know. These are pretty good.
Okay. Let's ease into it here.
Okay.
The director of Santa Claus, 1994, John Pasquin,
John Pasquin.
a famed director.
For sure. I know a lot of the things that he has directed.
Didn't know anything.
multiple Tim Allen vehicles.
He's
a big Tim Allen fan. I'll tell you that.
Don't know what the story is here. Is this like a guy who was a friend of Tim Allen's?
I don't know either.
Lovers.
Because it's like
he directed some of Home Improvement.
Oh, okay.
And then also Last Man Standing, which is another Tim Allen show.
Oh, yeah, sitcom. Yeah.
So they must be buds in some way.
And then also there was a movie that he directed. That was another Tim Allen vehicle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know how these two got hooked up.
Yeah.
But that's literally all he's done.
Miss Congeniality, too.
Was Tim Allen in that?
No, but this guy directed it, so...
A 2 movie.
Yeah, I mean, not usually a good sign,
Yeah,
but
so
it is known by some people.
He's the guy who directed this movie.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Not a whole lot otherwise.
I wrote down, who the fuck is this guy? And what a weird career. Like, what did I do? I directed several Tim Allen vehicles in the 90s. That's what I did.
That's what I did.
So yeah, that's that. The cast, Tim Allen, already mentioned him several times, of Home Improvement fame.
Judge Reinhold, as you guys mentioned about 60 times during
the real star, as far as I'm concerned. Like, probably, I mean, Tim Allen is like still relevant, I suppose, but Judge Reinhold is really like the person that you can still root for, I feel like.
Yeah.
To this day.
Probably.
In this movie. I took note of Wendy Crewson.
I also did.
Who is Laura, the mom, in this.
She was in Air Force One.
She was, I wrote down Air Force One !
The First Lady.
Yeah,
yes, that's right.
So I took note of that. Like,
super cool. She's good in that movie too.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of shit, actually. I was looking at her IMDb page and it's still current. Like, she's still doing stuff. Maybe nothing big, but she's still acting.
She's a very distinctive voice.
Distinctive voice, very distinctive look.
Yeah.
We were all commenting on this when we were watching the movie.
Yeah.
Great hair.
Distinctive 90s look, especially in this movie.
Big fan.
Yeah.
The only other person I took note of was David Krumholtz, who is Bernard.
So I know things I hate about you.
He's been in a number of things. It's like when you see him, it's like you recognize who it is, and he's the only other person that I care about in this movie, basically.
What about Charlie?
What about Charlie?
Kenny talks about his hatred for 90s boy actors.
They're just...
children in general.
Seattle, a la this movie.
Liar.
Yeah.
It's strange because it's like all these kids are like important in the plot, but they're just plot devices, basically. Like, what really matters is...
bowl cuts on a stick, basically.
Yeah. And, like, the main character of this is Tim Allen's character, Scott Calvin. And, like, the journey he goes through to, like, reunite with his family. So, like, the kid doesn't really matter. He could be anyone, and he just is anyone.
He could be a fucking cat.
He could be, yeah. The relationship with him and Laura, Wendy Crewson, is way more important than the relationship he has with his son. IMHO.
I don't know. I feel like they need the son to make the relationship that important. Because without the son, it's like, why are they bothering with each other at all? It's fighting over who gets more time with him.
Yeah, but like, I feel like I could describe the personalities of every character except Charlie. Like, Neil, very distinctive. Scott, distinctive. The wife, Laura, distinctive. Charlie is just the kid.
I feel like Laura's whole shtick is that she wants Charlie to, like, be well-adjusted, though. Mm-hmm. So it comes back to Charlie.
Okay.
True.
All right. We can get into that. Let's get into the tagline, though, because I have mine. You had yours. Yours was the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah. Never too old for the Christmas spirit. Something like that.
It's very true, because we were talking about where we were watching the movie, and it's like, it's a surprising, like, adult movie, because it's like, you're watching it, it's bringing up two kids who are watching it like, isn't this Santa thing a little immature, right?
Uh-huh.
You know that people are, like, not believing in this anymore. And then the movie eventually convinces you, You should still believe, though.
And you feel a little bad at the beginning because you're like, oh, one of those adults that's just like, oh, Christmas, Santa, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then the adults at the end believe.
Mm-hmm.
So powerful.
It's a very emotional movement for them.
It is.
It is.
For their little cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
All those police officers.
That's true.
And those children. My tagline is a surprisingly inoffensive 90s Christmas romp.
Yeah. So I didn't write my own tagline because the three real taglines that I wrote down were so good. Do you want to hear them?
Yeah.
This Christmas, snow hits the fan. That's the first one.
Oh my
The
god.
second one that I wrote down was, what if your dad was Santa Claus?
That's very good, actually.
And then the last one that I wrote down was, Scott Calvin must become Santa. No ifs, ands, just one big butt.
Oh my gosh, is that real?
Yeah. That was one of
Oh my gosh.
Just one big butt.
What if your dad was Santa Claus?
That's the best tagline. That's what the movie is. What if your dad was Santa Claus? So we were starting to watch this, and I make a comment about this while we're watching. It's like, if you describe the premise of this movie, it's really corny and stupid. Which is that a normal man, a divorced father, accidentally kills or just witnesses the death
That's
of,
true. He
of
didn't really
actual
have
Santa
Well,
Claus.
he didn't really
He
have
distracted him.
Yeah, he startles Santa Claus into his death.
Yeah.
Then accidentally finds himself in a legal loophole where he puts on the suit and thereby becomes the new Santa Claus and must take on that role.
Uh-huh.
That's the premise.
Yeah.
That's really stupid. Can we agree?
I love it. I think that's great. You always wonder, what would happen if Santa fell off the roof.
How do you think...
I assume Santa is a fey creature. I assume he's
He
immortal.
cannot die.
Yeah,
How
of
do
course.
you think this concept came about? Do you think someone thought, Santa Claus with an E, that's a funny pun, let me work off
Yes.
of that.
I'm sure you're
This
right.
is the movie.
I think that's exactly how it
Yeah. I'm
happened.
sure
and
you're
it
right.
Had
just-
to have been.
And it just happened to work in the 90s. This was the popular way of making a movie of like the distance corporate dad who's like just trying to make his way in the world and make money and stuff. And he's separated from his kid. That already existed, that archetype. And it's like, oh, the Santa Claus with an E. Huh.
We need to turn
I've got
something out for
something
Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
And the movie immediately strikes that tone when you jump into it because Scott Calvin, as soon as you jump in, he's a corporate man. He works at a toy company, but he's like, just doesn't care about like
He's
kids.
lying on the phone to his
Yeah.
ex-wife about why he's not home. He's
Yes.
the traffic. Yeah.
So I think it's that. I think it's somebody who's like, that's a good pun, and also
Let's just slip
Splice
these two
these two.
things in together.
I think that's how it happened.
Yeah, I figure.
I can't say it doesn't work for me though. Like, I like this movie.
Yeah.
I like, we mentioned in the commentary track, Liar Liar, which is like the same idea.
concept.
Exactly the same idea.
With a little bit of magic
Yeah.
sprinkled in.
Yeah, a distant, divorced father who's like can't relate to his bowl cut son anymore, and like a little bit of magic brings them back together.
Yeah.
Whoa! Like it's exactly the same,
That's
just with
true.
a Christmas
I
vibe.
never thought about that.
But one thing that we noted that is different between Liar Liar and similar movies and the Santa Claus, and is apparently even still true in other adaptations of the Santa Claus, like Santa Claus 2, etc., is that mom and dad, Scott and Laura,
Don't get back together.
they never get back together.
Mm-mm.
It's a story about like a family where it's like the parents are divorced, but that doesn't stop
meant
them
to
from
be
being a family.
divorced.
Like it's fine actually. And one thing I really liked rewatching the movie is that even though like Scott like takes digs at Laura and Neil, it's like it never feels like bad or tense that they're separated. It never feels like hateful. Like do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the second one is like that too. They're like very like supportive of each other. Because I know it's ridiculous, but he has to find a wife, and Neil and Laura are, like, looking through their, like, contacts and, like, setting him up on dates. And, yeah, trying to find people that he could date, which is really cute. It's cute.
I don't know if I would like that movie. I'm going to say
you would
probably
hate
not.
It. You would hate it.
But I like the general idea.
It's nice that they're not trying to ram those two back together.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which is what you would think would happen in one of these movies.
And that is what happens in Liar Liar, is that mom and dad get back together, and
poor
Carrie Elwes has to be like,
sorry, bud. You did nothing wrong, but fuck you.
You did nothing wrong. You're a really nice guy.
He's just a little Magoo.
So yeah, that's something I really like about the Santa Claus. Even rewatching it, because as we said, we were terrified to come back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
See something cringy that we didn't want to see.
You guys, you have to watch it every year, like I do.
Well, here's the one cringy bit that came about in the movie. Rewatching it was pretty like fat phobic at like the middle chunk of the movie, where it's like the magic is settling in. Scott Calvin is becoming Santa Claus, and he's gaining weight magically and stuff. And all of the people that he works with are like,
yes.
"Whoa,
right.
You look fat, actually."
Right.
And that's not good.
Which we were like, to be fair, like, he's concerned about his weight.
Sure.
And we're like, if I gained 30 pounds in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, I would be scared about my health condition as well. Like, something is going on.
Right.
But his coworkers were just like being assholes, like watching him eat dessert.
Right.
Like, that was weird.
Right. Like, he's just eating like his chocolate sundae, and they're like,
not from a place of concern, a place of disgust.
Yeah.
So that's like questionable.
Yeah.
But the movie comes around to that too.
For a 90s movie, that's pretty tame, I feel.
Definitely. Because you get to the end of the movie, and he has, like, he goes on his early journey where he's Santa Claus for the first time and going to these various houses. And there's the little girl who's like, "You're really skinny to be Santa Claus." And he's like, "I'm on a diet. I'm shaving. Like, I'm lactose intolerant." And we were saying we enjoy the fact...
Supposed to drink the milk.
We were saying we like the fact that the little girl, like, got soy milk for Santa Claus.
Yeah, she's so
and all
sweet.
that.
Of course she's on the nice list.
And she says to him, is like, "You've put on some weight." And he's like, "Thank you.
Thanks for noticing.
That's just nice.
Yeah.
You know? That's a nice thing.
That's so nice.
I like that. That's nice.
Before we get too far into the movie, I did write down only 2 pieces of trivia. One is that this was written with Bill Murray in mind, and he just straight up declined. It was like, no.
Sure.
And the only other piece of trivia I wrote down was that skateboard scooter that we we talk is called a rad board, and it was just a legit 90s like
very
toy that people got.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, so like, could you like roll on any part of it?
I looked it up, and people on Reddit were just like, "Yeah, I broke my arm when I got this.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
This went to rot in my shed.
That is rad.
This is the classic shed toy."
Sure. Okay. Good to know. Because that was something. Even as a kid
like,
of the 90s, I was like, I don't know what this is. I understood its purpose, though. It was like a cool toy to get.
Yeah.
As a kid. Got it.
For sure.
Fine.
This was what your rich corporate dad would get you for
Definitely.
Christmas.
That works at a toy store. Yeah, for sure.
I will say, not that I think having Bill Murray in this role would have been awful, but I get the casting choice.
Yeah.
Like the Groundhog Day corporate asshole who learns to have a heart of gold.
Lesson. Yeah.
That's the Groundhog Day Bill Murray shtick.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Allen works perfectly well in that, where it's like, you can sell him as like the corporate a-hole who learns to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really good at being snotty, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that makes a lot of sense to me. As far as the movie itself, I was surprised, I guess I shouldn't have been, at how simple the plot was. This is another one of those not much happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Like the first third of the movie is the part I loved the most as a kid, which was becoming Santa, going to the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like 20 to 30 minutes of the movie. And the movie's not long.
No.
It's like 90 minutes total, just about. And then after that, it goes to, okay, they get back, and now it's like, Scott Calvin in denial, his son being like, you're Santa, and Mom and Neil being like, this is weird, don't like this.
The part is kind of depressing, to be honest.
Very.
Like, he's like trying to figure out what's wrong with him, and Mom and Neil like think that Charlie's delusional, and that Scott is like encouraging it. And they take away
to be closer to
custody of Charlie. Like, it's very depressing in the middle there.
It's very depressing, and also like I don't blame anyone for any of the actions they're taking, because it's like if this were happening, so we were talking about like imagine you're divorced from your husband, and like you're sharing custody with the son. And then he comes back and says the Santa Claus thing. Yeah. And then you go to the park and like
kids are sitting on
he's at a bench.
Lap.
Yeah. And he's like having kids sit on his lap and act
and it's like
Santa.
May at this point. It's been like 6 months and it's still
you would seek
it's escalating.
You would seek some kind of help
of
some variety.
Right.
It's just it's a very strange middle chunk of the movie. It's a weird combination of like sad things are happening, and then it's like also like funny shticks about like what if you were becoming Santa, and it's like, oh, you're getting a long white beard and you're getting piles of boxes of lists in your house.
You're getting the nice and the naughty list, and you're gaining weight, and then you're walking the street and saying, this person's nice, this person's naughty. But then also you're losing custody of your kid. Like,
and it's very, very strange.
It's that work-life balance, you gotta separate the two.
I feel like there's something, watching the movie again, they could have leaned a little bit harder on some of like the arcs that were happening in the movie, because it's like at the end Laura is like, oh, you really are seeing, like, you really are close and connected with Charlie. And there's just, like, such a quick bounce between, at the beginning of the movie, he's, like, feels distant from Charlie, doesn't get what he likes, and they jump, as soon as they go to the North Pole, they're on the same page. There's no jump for them. There's no developing that bond. And I still, watching the movie, feel weird about the fact that the thing Charlie likes about Scott is that he's Santa. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with Scott as a person.
That's true.
It is true.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Although Scott does have character development. Like, I feel like he becomes a nicer person.
He does.
Through his experience. But you're right, Charlie is like, yeah, Dad is Santa. Hell yeah.
Even at the end, he's like, I love you, Santa. And it's like,
take me on your sleigh, Santa.
Something's not good here. Don't love that. And then we mentioned at the very end where Neil says he's a psychiatrist, and he says to Charlie, you're going to make a great psychiatrist someday, kid. He's like, I'm going to the family business, and looks up at the sled, and it's like,
so you're going to kill your dad?
Right, like, I don't know. There's something weird going on here that I'm not a big fan of. But that's why I'm saying, like, Charlie is like an instrument for Scott to develop, and he's not like, the kid doesn't matter.
I mean, how old is he, do you think?
2.
Shut up.
7.
Okay, I could buy 7. When you're 7 and your dad has been super distant, and then all of a sudden he's Santa, yeah, obviously, that's going to be the coolest thing about your dad.
True.
I agree.
And the only thing he really knows about his dad, probably.
That's true.
I agree. I'm just saying, if I were writing a movie, I would want it to be like, I would want a moment at the end where the kid is like, I don't care that you're Santa. I love you, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the moment that I would like.
It's true. You're right. You're right.
Just saying.
It's still slightly unhealthy at the end because he can't separate Santa from his father.
Well, Scott is Santa now,
That's true.
Santa
You're right.
is Dad.
You're right. Is being Santa a job, or is it an identity?
It's a lifestyle.
Like, is he Santa?
Well, okay, so in Santa Claus 2, does he just live at the North Pole?
Yeah. He does.
That's his life. He is Santa.
He is Santa. So, like, his Scott Calvin identity is just
gone.
He's dead. He's Santa now.
So here's a lore question.
To every Santa?
Here's a lore question I have. Because a big deal is made at various points of, like, SC, Scott Calvin, Santa Claus. So,
was that a coincidence?
Is that a coincidence?
Or
is it fate? Or is it like everyone who becomes Santa Claus has like
SC.
something drawing you into that life, Because what seems to be suggested by the Santa Claus lore is that he was drawn into this by fate. Because he was already reading the book to his kid the night of.
And he's a toy maker.
You see what I mean? Like, the seeds were already there.
True. That's a great...
There's
I
like
wonder
a weird
if that
curse,
Santa was like ready
you.
to die.
Yeah.
Ready
Maybe
to
he was
retire.
Suicidal and he killed
Whoa!
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I'm going to look at my list at all the SCs on my list and see who I can
Here's
get.
the one.
He's middle-aged.
Because he falls off, he lands in the snow, and he
we
waves
think it was,
bye,
God.
bye.
like magical. Like, we don't know if he actually like just straight up perished or if it was like some magical
Maybe
thing
he
that
maybe he
happened.
returned to his old life.
It's just like retirement or something.
He's on a beach.
Yeah.
Or is it like the Avatar state, where his soul went into Scott Calvin's soul, and all of the souls of Santa collapse in on themselves?
Wow.
Yes.
James
like
Cameron, can we get your input?
Gideon the Ninth. Like so many people sharing that space.
That
in
same
there.
consciousness. Yeah.
Weird.
Scott Calvin the Ninth.
I think we should do a prequel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Talk
they
about the
keep
lore.
doing sequels, but we need a prequel.
So there's a Santa Claus 3, isn't there? Have you seen that one?
That one I've not seen.
Okay, because maybe this would answer some of our questions.
Maybe. I've not seen that one.
Well, that's the one with
Is that the Jack?
Martin Short.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Jack Frost.
I have not seen that
Boo. No way
I
that's
have
good.
seen that a long, long time ago.
No way that's good.
You know what movie we should have watched?
one. What?
The one where they have the weather machine and they make it snow.
The Disney Channel movie?
What's that one called?
It's called The Snow Day. No, that's not The Snow
No.
Day. That's a different one. What is that
I
called?
don't know. We should have watched it.
Must have been. Yeah, we should have watched that one. We can't remember the
We
name.
love
of it.
that movie.
I'm sure it's on Disney Plus. What is that
For
called?
sure.
It's got the little
If we Googled it, we
And there's
could figure it
Santa
out.
in that one, right?
Yeah, there's Christmas comes on that in that movie.
Yeah.
It must have
Anyway,
been Santa.
sorry.
Must be Santa.
He's got a beard that's long and white.
Comes around on a special night. Must be
Must
Santa.
be Santa. Anyway,
Must
sorry.
be Santa.
Tangent.
I forgot about that movie.
I only had one other real note about this
The
movie.
greatest snow day ever, or something like that. Sorry.
I only had one other note about
Is
this
it
movie.
negative?
No, it's not. It's about technology in the movie.
Mm.
At several points, technology like plays a role. Either it's like the elves with their jetpacks and stuff,
Oh, we
or
skipped all over that, didn't we?
yeah, or like the CD player, the cookie cocoa dispenser in the sled,
Badass.
or like the little like speaker in like. They were trying to make a point of like Santa's getting up with technology. It just felt like a very 90s thing. Like, especially like CD as well. But I mean, it's just any movie probably. It's like, if you want to appeal to the kids, what are the kids
Put
doing
an
these
iPad
days?
in it or
Exactly.
something.
Oh my god, you guys, Noelle, that movie that I keep telling you to watch. Everybody on their lists say they want this, that, and an iPad. And so she like delivers an iPad to pretty much every single house.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I don't... There's something interesting going on with the movie because it's showing that technology stuff. But then on the other hand, you were talking about you really liked the Santa Claus suit.
It's the best Santa suit.
Because it was very like
antique.
Vintage, antique-y. I was noticing the mittens were like just leather, like plush, lined mittens.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that felt like, yeah, this is what Santa Claus would wear.
Yes, absolutely. But he's also got a flame retardant suit underneath the new suit.
Because he goes down a chimney.
Because he goes down chimneys with fires. You get it.
Yes.
How does he die though? Like you've got all this magic and you can just fall off
He
a
was
roof.
ready to go.
No.
Well, that's what he kept asking. What happens if I fall off a roof? And all of them were like,
So all these
that
questions
doesn't happen.
They keep getting raised these questions and it doesn't come to anything.
Fine.
Which I think these are fair questions.
Because maybe it's like, well, if it's your time, it's your time. Like, that's not something we can fix because we're going to need a new one at some point.
I just think these are like weird things to be introducing. Like, I think you could have done the exact same premise without killing Santa Claus at the beginning of your movie.
A
You know?
retiring Santa.
Right, because it could have just been that. It could have been like oh, you're like a corporate guy, and he gets like a letter delivered to his house. And it's like, you are the new Santa. And he's like, what is this about?
Or he gets tricked into
That's
putting
not
on the
as fun,
suit.
though,
Yeah, he thinks
It's not as
some
fun as
mall
Santa Claus being murdered. It's such a weird
that's
choice.
a part for the parents, I feel like. See Santa fall off the roof. He waves goodbye. Like,
I feel like there's like a real Rick and Morty style thing where it's like, how many ways has Santa died in the past? You know,
Right.
you have to wonder, like,
Right.
how many different ways has he
like
perished?
before they made a flame retardant suit.
Exactly. Burst
to
into
death.
flames.
Like-
Yes. Fell off the roof, fell out of the sleigh. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's reminding me a bit
Impaled
of...
himself somehow.
well, they're talking, like, do you remember in Dogma, they're talking about all the ways that the first Adam and Eve died before they realized how things worked. Because they're like, the voice of God kills mortals who hear it. And the Metatron is like, we went through 5 Adams before we figured that one out.
I don't remember that.
I tried to find that movie to watch. I cannot find it anywhere.
It's on YouTube.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a YouTube subscription, but we should watch it sometime because I do want to watch it again. I feel like I'm sure it was super clever, but I wasn't quite old enough to get a lot
That
of
was
it.
a Sunday morning movie that we never got to see.
Because we always had to go to church.
It's good.
Yeah. Anyway, another tangent.
The
But
Santa
yes.
Claus.
Yes. Like, how many ways has Santa died in the past?
Well, he almost gets killed by a SWAT team because he's kidnapped his own son,
That's true.
essentially.
How many times has Santa been arrested? Like, they had to have the elf squad on the ready for this situation.
True, you're right.
So they knew
they
what was
actually
going
have
on.
something in place for that. And elves apparently in towns
That's true.
All
for
over Earth.
for Santa,
Surveilling?
to help.
Just in case.
Yeah.
So things must go wrong.
We need
lot.
a prequel, you guys. A prequel.
Let's start writing.
Let's write it and pitch it. I think we could.
I think this
be
just
successful.
this even more supports the idea that the original Santa in this movie wanted to go. Because obviously there were elves around in the area who could have prevented it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I choose to believe he didn't die.
So you're thinking this is more like a Men in Black scenario where Tommy Lee Jones goes back to his normal life at the end of...
Clicks and forgets.
So that's like how Santa Claus works
Maybe.
in this world.
Or maybe he just gets to pick where he goes after.
I think they didn't think about it at all.
Probably.
That's probably right.
But that's what I choose to believe.
We could retcon everything and change what happened,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I enjoyed it as a kid. I still liked it as
Yeah,
an
it
adult.
held up pretty well, I feel like.
Yeah, surprisingly well.
Yeah.
This is a movie I was worried about. It worked out okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, final reviews. Score, what do you have?
I gave it a 9.7 out of 10 on the nostalgia factor.
Nice.
Like, it held up for me.
Very nice. I gave it a 94 out of 94 for the year that it was made.
Nice.
Same deal. It's like, if you didn't watch this movie as a kid,
You might not like it that
I don't
much.
think you're really going to like it.
Yeah.
It's just a normal-ass movie.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
if you watched it young and you're worried about it like we were, it's
You're still
still
gonna
good.
like it,
Yeah,
probably.
it's still pretty good, actually.
For sure. 10 out of 10 for Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
There you
The
go.
bell still rings.
The bell still rings. Great music. We were
Yeah.
we were humming along with it.
Yeah.
Great.
Ba-da-da-dum.
See you next time
Dreaming of a white
on Watching Movies.
Christmas.
Just like the ones I used to know. Boop, 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 where the blue
To hear
Look at these good spikes.
the snow,
The snow.